Okay, so we've discussed in the previous two learning outcomes or objectives, things that are related to the inputs in your model. Right now, we're going to talk about some outcomes. Okay, so this chapter doesn't talk about processes, talk about keyword places are outcomes. So what are the outcomes of, these inputs like attitudes and values is at the end, through some processes that we're going to talk about in other chapters, things like organizational commitment, employee engagement, perceived organizational support, and job satisfaction. Sometimes there seems like an overlap because these ideas were not all developed by the same person. So you'll find that sometimes they overlap together. And if you find that you have any questions about, don't understand the difference between them, then please email. Okay. So what is organizational commitment? Organizational commitment refers to the extent to which an employee identifies with the organization's goals. And that stems from, do employees see an alignment between their own values and that of the organization? So for example, employees at Patagonia who value the environment will see an alignment between their goals and that of the company that they work for, because the company manufactures clothes which, while fostering the principles of sustainability and preserving the environment. So they'll feel a higher level of organizational commitment. Organizational commitment is important because those who have personal values that align with the organization will be more committed to the organization. They're more likely to feel that they will stay longer, they'll perform better, and you'll feel that we're going to repeat because these ultimate outcomes are very similar. But what's important when increasing employee commitment, as we said, is to align your personal values with those of the organization, or to when hiring employees, we figure out whether there's this alignment or not. So if you hire someone in Patagonia who doesn't really care about the environment, then there's very low alignment and likely to be a very low level of organizational commitment. We have to also guard against breaches of psychological contract. Psychological contract is the perception that there is a reciprocal relationship between the employee and the company. In short, that we take care of each other. In your textbook, pilots at Southwest Airlines felt that there's a breach of contract because the employees were looking at the best interest of the airline, but the airline wasn't. The new terms of the contract offered salaries below that of competition, which is the other competing airlines. So that is a huge violation of psychological contract when an employee feels that they're giving their best and they're even getting worse than other airlines which are performing worse and even giving higher level of salaries and wages. Your textbook also provides several examples like Cisco and Google who are able to achieve very high levels of organizational commitment. And we'll talk also later on other chapters on how we can build that level of trust. Psychological contracts, not breaching them, are essential for building that level of trust. Employee engagement is another outcome or workplace outcome or attitude that we want to talk about, and is the extent to which employees feel that they're giving their all to their workload or to their work roles. I'm sorry. In other words, do the employees give it their all? Do they feel that sense of urgency, being focused, intensity, and enthusiasm? Have you ever had that teacher who was so focused, enthusiastic, and intense in the classroom? They just feel that they're enthused to be there, to be teaching, that they're the luckiest people on earth to be in that situation. Then that is an example of an engaged employee. And what contributes then to employee engagement is very important. It's a mix of organizational factors, personal and environment factors. And there are some environment factors that I want to talk about here, which are motivating tasks, encouraging leadership, and an environment that is not stressful. So if you have a variety of tasks in your job, that really makes you very engaged. Like in my job, I get to do research, I get to do teaching, I get to lead, student groups, take them to trips, encourage them, motivate them. That is, a lot of tasks that are fulfilling and a variety of different tasks that I have to do. Is there encouraging leadership? And in my line of work, I found that is, and in any job, to be honest, that is a very big difference between whether employees are engaged or not. Do managers encourage you? Do they really encourage very good levels or high levels of performance and behavior? So we did um, I would say, a competition between students in which students were setting up restaurants, and they were selling to other customers and to the other employees. So, and the head of my department really encouraged us. She attended. She made sure that it was highly publicized, and that was really motivating for us to do it the next couple of years. And finally, not working to an environment that is stressful. A lot of salespeople work in very stressful jobs, and that leads usually to a very low level of employee engagement. Why is employee engagement very important? Because it leads to high levels of customer loyalty and satisfaction. Like what we saw with Southwest Airlines, if they're not really satisfied, then they're not engaged. They can't really, the flight attendants can't really serve their customers and make sure that they're, increasing their loyalty and satisfaction. It also leads to employee performance. You perform better, you feel better about your job, and then ultimately at the organization level, the organization performs well financially. And that has been part of why Southwest has been very successful, is that their employees are highly engaged. Okay. Another concept that we're referring to is perceived organization support. So does the organization value my contribution? Do they care about my interests? It has to be voluntary in this situation. It can't be that the organization is forced to care about me. So for example, in my case, the organization, in the previous university that I worked for, increased the number of conferences that I got to. I got better benefits. I got higher salary without me asking for it. And that really increased my level of perceived organizational support from me. I felt that they really had my best interest at heart to make sure that I am, improving myself, that I'm advancing in my career. Because when I go to conferences, I really am able to network with other people. Okay, as with other things, it results in increased organizational commitment, job satisfaction. You're performing better. You also perform when you have better organizational citizenship behavior. And we'll talk about what this is. This is voluntary behavior of employees, as well as lower turnover. So let's test our knowledge of yours. Sandra manages the marketing department for the Greener Grass Corporation to increase employee engagement. What should she try except? A, redesign jobs so that workers have variety and feedback. B, take a class to learn how to be a charismatic leader. C, try to limit stressors in their workplace. As staff leave, replace them with new hires who score higher in pessimism on a personality test, or provide recognition to employees who perform well. Well, if you've answered D, then you're right. Providing variety in your job increases engagement. Leading them, B, also in a very charismatic way, it leads to engagement. Limiting stress, C, is also important. And finally, E, providing recognition is also a form of leading your employees to make sure that they are performing well.